What are your thoughts on partnerships?
Obviously, I had a partner in every single business that I've had. Partnerships are difficult, man.
And what's your advice to those who do kind of offer that flippantly? Because I feel like you're so tight on equity. Equity's precious to you.
I truly believe if that guy wants 100 grand a year, and what's that 10, 15%? If I'm starting out today though, I have no money, I'm finding that partner that has the skill sets that I don't have.
Welcome to the Premium Mindset, the weekly podcast where homegrown entrepreneurs and business owners, Evan Richie and Cameron Bawden, share the good, the bad, and the ugly of modern entrepreneurship and reveal what really happens behind the scenes of their personal and professional lives. As owners of two of America's fastest growing and most disruptive companies, Coconut Cleaning and Green Mango Pest Control. Stay tuned for real stories, struggles, insight, and advice from real entrepreneurs in real time.
What's going on today's episode of the Premium Mindset? Cameron and I are talking about the topics of partnerships, whether you should have them, whether you shouldn't, and the parameters that you should consider prior to choosing a partner, as well as how you can grow your company to make it look more appealing for outside investment or a future partnership. Let's talk about the prospect of partnership and raising money or bringing in money into the business, because we have this new franchisee, Minneapolis. Personally, liquidity wise, he's good on his own. And giving us a little compliment, he said, listening to you and Cameron on your podcasts has really made me want to bring on a partner. And I have some high level, friends that are about to go knock doors again for their 6th, 7th, 8th summer and make a bunch of money. Should I bring on someone as a partner and we just really go blow this thing up? And I feel like that is a topic that a lot of people talk about. And I'm sure you get it more because the nature of what you're doing as far as consulting, where people, it's not necessarily they want to save on you and your consulting fee. Maybe they do, but they're also just like, hey, Cam, just take 5, 10, 20% equity and just help me run this thing. And then we could sell later on down the road. And so first, let's talk about partnerships. I'll state, because you asked, my opinion on partnerships is I saw something that summed it up better, is that if they have time that you don't have, if they have money that you don't have, or if they have resources that you don't have, that's the only
talents.
Resources, talents, yeah, that's when it should be considered. So I asked him, I said, is it a time thing? You want to accelerate how fast you succeed? Or is it that you're getting nervous on capital and how much money you want to put into marketing? Or is it, do you feel inadequate in regards to sales or something like that? He's like, no, I'm good. I know that obviously more hands to accelerate the work. If I'm knocking and he's knocking, then of course it's, the theory is faster. But I feel like I've always been pro partner when the operator's agreement is done right, and that there is a clear division in responsibilities. And the thing I think we never did, but we figured out through conflict, is figuring out all the ways, as much as you can, how the partnership could crumble or where there could be forks in the road on decisions, and try to make those at a time where you are good with each other. And then I think it's okay to move forward. But as far as taking on partners just for the idea of not being alone, I think only the individual can ask themselves that. Am I a guy that if I don't have someone at the office expecting me to show up, that I'm not going to? I think that's more of a reflection on them that they may not be ready for this kind of work. What are your thoughts on partnerships?
Obviously, I had a partner in every single business that I've had. Partnerships are difficult, man. The things that you just listed, literally, write those down, because if that is the truth and they have each one of those things, then you for sure should have a partner.
Yeah.
One of the things that my buddy Jason Jarvis, who does restoration and roofing now, back in the day, he said, well, I just pay a consultant or a coach, 100 grand, 200 grand a year. And that's a lot cheaper than a partner. And at first I was like, man, I don't know about that. But I feel like if you have the money and you're wanting to be involved in the business, then a coach or being part of a group or whatever is probably cheaper than having a partner. Because if you have the money to go hire that trait that you talked about that you don't have, then you can hire someone cheaper than a partner, right? And you can hold them to the standard. And if they don't uphold the standard, then you can let them go a lot easier than a partner. But on the flip side, it is really nice to have someone that comes over late at night at 9 o'clock and, chips with you or goes in the sauna or the ice bath and, is kind of in it together. And that's one of the things I told you that, when I bought Dusty out, that was one of the unexpected feelings. Dusty and I hadn't really been in the company for 2 years prior to the exit, but just knowing that he wasn't there to help with payroll or do whatever, it was this weird feeling. And so there is a lot of comfort there. But that's why I think there's groups. So I could go on both sides. If I'm starting out today though, I have no money, I'm finding that partner that has the skill sets that I don't have 100%.
So why is it that when someone just tries someone little, not little, but 5, 10, 15% equity, what's your advice to the people who are trying to do that? They're trying to get that big wig and into their business for 5, 10% equity on the premise that, help me blow this thing up. And now you own a small piece. Why have you stayed away from that for this time? Right now, this phase of your life? And what's your advice to those who do kind of offer that flippantly? Because I feel like you're so tight on equity. Equity is precious to you.
Yeah, and it should be. I truly believe that if that guy wants $100,000 a year, and what's that 10, 15%? If you sell for $10 million, if you gave that guy 10%, it's $1 million. And who knows if that guy will perform,
right.
Why have I not gone down the road of giving away equity?
Yeah.
Because I believe that we can turn these companies into something great. With that said, we're offering Tommy equity to come in right now to Coconut, one, because of his connections, and two, because I feel like he's walked a path that we don't want to walk. And that's one of the traits that I want, you know? And so I don't know. I feel like we're not I hate when I listen to podcasts and they don't give me clear answers, but this is one of the things that's it just depends on your scenario. And again, having a buddy to we always call it a whiteboard session, to whiteboard, you just truly need to go down all the little things. The reason why I want Tommy is because he has a lot of connections. We sat down with Jeff Dudden, who's sold over 450, did he say 440 franchises?
600, yeah, over 600.
Over 600?
Yeah.
What was 440? I just heard that wrong.
Yeah.
Over 600 franchises. I'm not saying we couldn't have got that without Tommy, but he made that really easy. We were at dinner with him and spent 5 hours that night with him, asking him unlimited amounts of questions. Great guy. And those little things, and this is where entrepreneurs miss the mark, is he could have saved us 5 years of headache just in that one. He did a lot of things that he told us of how well he vets people, the territory size. How about that?
That's wild.
So we have our territories of 25 miles.
Metros. It's pretty much like the metro city. So if you're in Minneapolis, we give you Minneapolis.
Which is 25 square miles, right?
Yeah.
When we first did that, I was like, dude, that's kind of small. 25 miles doesn't seem that big, right?
Because in Phoenix, that doesn't get you Queen Creek. It doesn't get you certain
That's crazy.
Right.
So Jeff's hey, that's way too big. And you and I both looked at each other is this
excuse
guy?
me? Yeah.
What? He's one of the things that you need to understand is that when you go sell this company, there needs to be white space for the next company to turn. They need to be able to grow at least 50%.
Right.
And so if you have this if you've made your territories as big as you have, and you've sold 50 franchises in 50 states, and there's no room to go grow because you already sold out the 50 states, you just killed yourself on your valuation.
Right.
That, who knows how much that just saved us.
And what was funny is that you kept saying that to him because he was I consult and I would love to do anything with Tommy and you guys and I just don't know how I could help you guys. You were dude, you just saved us not only so much and a potential return later on down the road, but also time for legalities. And he was just so gracious, but two, like for that little information, it was like, okay.
But here's where I value it. It's like, dude, you can't think of all the things that you could save me right now just because you do it every single day, Jeff. But if you have 5% of this company, I'm just throwing that number out there, and we get to meet with you once a month and just kind of just hang out and just talk business, and something like this comes from it, I know what that 5% is worth now, that it saved me. Because I learned from Green Mango, I ran a model, like I wasted so many years and so much money. And that's going back to our last podcast about coconut. It's like, I just know we can do it all because we're that talented. And so why not? And so that's where I'm at in life. And that's where when people are starting out, I think it's strategic to give away 5 to 10% to people who understand your industry, that can be a mentor for you. Have contingencies in place to where if they don't answer the phone and all those things, you can get it back. But it's like, dude, if you give away 5 to 10% as like a mentor fee of like, save me of making mistakes, that's worth it. My nephews are wanting to start a window company, and my dad called me and said, what advice do you have? I said, they're going to fight it right now, but I'm telling you, pay the $500 a month for the CRM. Just do it. Like, don't try and be cheap and not pay the CRM and do the Excel and make it difficult for the customer. I said, I don't care if they're going to, sell 30 of their friends and family, or if they're going to go build this into 2,000 customers or whatever, like they need to have a CRM because customers care about how easy it is. They need to be able to bill it. They need to keep notes in the system. Like, it'll just save them so much. He's like, man, I never thought of that. It's like, that's worth gold in my opinion. Like, right. I didn't bill, and we've talked about this before on the podcast. It's like, we didn't bill our customers half the time. I was laughing. I sent you the picture of the, and we can put it up here, of our first customer contract. What's so funny about that, and I wish I had it to show you, but like at the top, you'll see a little money sign circled. You'll see a money sign with a number 2 next to it. And then there's like 3 or 4 money signs on it. That's their first, second, third, and fourth time they were billed. That's how we were tracking how we were billing that customer. I had no idea. So when you go back and look at it, it's like, it's entertaining, but that's how like embarrassing we ran Green Mango. And you could only imagine, that might work for 5, 10 customers, but once you get to like 20 and 30 and 100 and 1,000, like imagine it's embarrassing, man. And so like, I just know that if we gave away, which is what I'm pitching Tom on. It's like, dude, come in for some equity and just let me, like, we're already hanging out, but let me make it worth your time and, save us on this stuff.
So real quick, let's talk about, because I've had people that we've posted posts with, like, as far as
we've done what with?
Like, people have reached out in regards to certain posts when we post with them, like Tommy and Jeff and other people. And they say like, not like, oh, what's it like? But they're just like, what do they look for? Like, how do I get that guy's time? How do I get that guy's attention? And here's what you probably don't want to accept right now is that like some people look to you in this space as Tommy of pest control, because, there's just some people that after you, it just starts getting like, there's no names really attached to it. Like, it's just like Terminex, and who runs Terminex? I think they're publicly traded, but you're like a leading name in this industry that people look to as like, hey, I'll get you buy 5, 10%. Let me get that hour, not, buy, some people are offering to give it to you. Let me get that hour or 2 a month. One thing that I never was able to correlate as far as what private equity or big investors or just investors in general look for, that was a shock to me. It was steady, profitable growth over large pockets of exponential growth and then decline. That's a major turnoff to them.
Wait, steady, what do you say?
Steady, profitable growth is better than having like this, waiting for your year, because like, November, December is our big month. So like, hey, Cam, I promise that's when we're going to make our money. Yeah. So I want to talk about that real quick, because I feel like we have this inside information. I feel like the correlating factor between private equity and these big investors is like, just show me consistency in what you're doing.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, if you're going for an evaluation, the TTM trailing 12 months, they're going to look for just steady growth, or I mean, maintaining's okay, but like that growth, like you're saying 2%, but if you dip, red flags are going up,
Yeah.
they're hurting your evaluation, like what happened here, and they use that to their advantage. And so that's why, again, going back to I don't want to have any excuses in business. Like it's our slow season. Oh, it's the holidays. Oh, it's, whatever.
That was another episode, Cameron.
I know, man.
He's coming full,
But it's
he's
like,
coming full circle to.
you just can't have it. All
Yeah.
right. No. Yeah. I was just thinking how difficult it would be to not have a partner in business, because I don't know what that's like. That holds you accountable, that pushes you, that sends you the late night text, the early morning text, the, whatever it might be.
Yeah.
And that's why I think you see a lot of these companies like flatline for many years before they get that shot in the arm. And that's another benefit of having a partnership. And truly, I'm doing an okay job at it right now. And that's why I wanted to start the 1% Club, is to have that network of people. I want to find a way to help hold them accountable, not because obviously I care about their business, but it's not for me. I don't own equity. They pay me no matter what. I want to be that guy that like they almost have to answer to, so that they keep like waking up and pushing every single day, because you need that every single day, man. Like even we're doing this 4-week challenge with the 1%. Are you doing it?
Yeah. I started on
Thanks, Like not looking at my phone for an hour in the morning has helped my creative flow so much. Like just
For me,
that's
the
one
steps,
of 6
yeah,
things.
the steps is like, I'm already,
I don't know how you're walking right now. I don't think you should be doing
right.
that.
But like I know if I were to check, I'm at like 5,400 steps. And I only know that because of this challenge.
That's great, man.
But it's also
but
the
you know that
camaraderie.
I'm not gonna like, if you were in the group of 50, however many people now,
50,000.
I'm
He
not.
cut himself short.
I'm not like saying, Evan, how you doing, man? And so if you wanted to quit, you could and just fly under the radar, and I don't like that.
But I know, yeah.
You're
Like,
different,
I know,
but I'm saying
and the cameras are rolling too, like you asked. So it's like, of course.